Well, this is who the Padres have been this season, right? They go and beat the Kansas City Royals, a team that is well over 500 in Kansas City. We got competitive series at home, on the road against teams like the Dodgers, the Braves, but then they face the Los Angeles Angels, who going into tonight's game were 22 and 37. They had lost 8 of their last 9 games. They just got swept by the Mariners. Trout's on the IL, Drury's on the IL, Rendon's on the IL, Otani's not there, and the Padres can't get the win. Matt Waldron pitched fantastic tonight. Again, his last 5 starts, he's been really good. 6 earned runs, I believe, combined in his last 5 starts. And so when you get an outing again like that from Waldron, where he goes 6 and a third, no walks, 1 earned run, and you can't go get a win there, that's a wasted opportunity. Obviously, in the series finale against the Royals, wasted because you had the lead there on the doorstep. Matsui can't finish it. And then today, you have those opportunities with runners in scoring position, and the Padres go 0 for 6, leave 7 guys on base. And the Angels, I mean, I'll give credit to them, picking the right matchups. They intentionally walked Manny a couple of times. One of those times, I believe, I want to say it was the 8th inning. Yeah, 8th inning with, I believe, Hunter Strickland on the mound. Profar doubled. Tatis flew out. So runner on second, nobody out. Tatis flies out. These are your big guys up at the plate. Tatis flies out. Manny intentionally walked. And then Solano's not part of the big guys, but he's in the part of that. Tonight he was, at least where he was in the order, right? He pops out, and then Crony pops out, and there it's 1-1, and you can't come away with anything there. That was a killer. The Angels, they take the lead, and they obviously would not give that up there. They take the lead in that next half inning. It wasn't just that situation, though. The Padres, I believe, in the 7th inning, they had opportunities as well. Kim had a double with 1 out. Then Merrill grounds out. Azokar's on base with a walk. He steals second, takes away the force out at second, but Peralta ends up flying out. It was deep. It was definitely deep, but was not far enough to get out of the yard. And so just some wasted opportunities. Obviously, we got a hit on where Profar got thrown out, where the Padres could have gotten a run there if he wouldn't have gotten thrown out. But we got to think about the situation in that spot. You got a ball going down the line. Tatis hits it down the line. Manny is on deck. Let's remember this. If Profar gets the stop sign from Tim Leeper at third base, the third base coach, it's Manny up to bat with Profar at third, Tatis at second base, 1 out. Manny just homered earlier in the game. Do you want that situation or risk getting thrown out like he did and having Manny up with 2 outs, Tatis on third, but that doesn't matter really because it's not like a fly ball to the outfield gets Tatis in. And so the way I'm framing it, you're probably like, well, Ben, you're probably saying that Profar should not have been sent there. But I'm fine with Tim Leeper sending Profar in that situation. I know Manny homered earlier, and I know the way that I framed it, right, it's not a very good look on Tim Leeper to be sending Jurickson Profar in that situation. But if you go watch the play, ball's in the left field corner, I believe, when Leeper is sending Profar. It was a good relay. This is who this Padres team is. It's one thing if this was a playoff game and they were doing it. And I know all 162 matter, but this is who this team is. Make the other team get you out, right? This team, they put the ball in play. They're one of the best average teams. I think they're the best average team on the road in baseball. They put the ball in play. Make the other team execute. And you got to give props to the Angels for executing in that situation. They got the ball in on a good relay. Neto at short makes a good throw into home and gets Profar out at the plate. If Fernando was running in that spot and he wasn't the one hitting the ball, he probably would have scored. But Profar is not Fernando. If it was Manny running, Manny probably wouldn't have been sent in that spot. I don't think. If it was someone slower, I'm not saying Profar is the fastest guy, but Leeper had confidence in Profar, and I'd rather have you be over aggressive than be all, under aggressive and be scared to send runners because sometimes you're going to get benefited from sending that runner. They're not going to make a good throw. It's the Angels, right? Force them to make a play, and the Padres did that. They still should have come through later in the game. It's not like they didn't have opportunities later after getting thrown out. So I'm really more frustrated with that than the send in that situation. I saw on social media when I posted that clip, there's a lot of Padres fans that said, well, he got thrown out by 15 feet. So, of course, it was a dumb decision. It wasn't 15 feet. I know they're exaggerating. It's easy to look at that in hindsight, but I'm trying to look at it from Tim Leeper's perspective in that moment. Is this Padres team? They're an aggressive baseball team. And so keep that identity, make the Angels make the play, and they did. Sometimes that happens. Tatis in the Royals series, make Bobby Witt Jr. throw you out. And Bobby Witt did. Sometimes you got to give props to the other team. What I'm not going to do is tip my cap to the Angels pitching. And I think the Padres offense has to do better. But what I will do is give props when it's necessary, when it's deserved to a team executing a good relay. And that's what I believe happened with the Angels here today. It was good to see Manny hit that homer. I was listening in that moment on the radio, and it seemed like it was a Padres home game. So looking forward to being in that crowd tomorrow, and it being a pro Padre crowd, and having that energy there. I don't know why, but Padres Angels isn't an every year thing. I know schedule, right? You play they're playing the Angels every year now because of the new schedule, but that wasn't the case. I think Angels should come to Petco every year, and the Padres should go to Anaheim every year. It makes sense. I mean, Don Orsillo talks on the broadcast about the Padres. They drive past Angel Stadium to get to Dodger Stadium on a bus. So why can't you play the Angels there every year and then play at Petco every year? It's a short drive. It makes sense for both fan bases. It makes sense for both teams. I don't really understand that. I would like to see the Angels every year. I would like to have the Padres go to Anaheim every year. I think it makes sense. Now, I know they have to play all the NL West teams. They have to play all the NL teams. They have to play all the AL teams. They reduce the amount of divisional games. But maybe there's a way where the Padres, they can work it out where, okay, instead of going to, I don't know, name a city name maybe an East Coast city, so that they don't have to make that trip there every year. Maybe that's an every other year thing, and that East Coast team, or they switch off. Let's say Padres go to the East Coast city one year, and then that East Coast team goes the next year, but they don't go there and back. Like one of the NL teams, and instead it's Padres Angels. Maybe that's not the fairest, but I don't know. Padres Angels, it just seems like it makes sense. I know they're playing every year now, but I'm talking about going to Anaheim and Anaheim coming to San Diego every year. I mean, it's super close. It's closer to Dodger. It's closer there than it is to Dodger Stadium. But anyway, maybe when Major League Baseball, if they realign divisions, the Angels will probably be in the Padres division. Anyway, back to the game. Luis Ariz, nothing out of him today. Obviously, he was not playing. He said he was good. He was going to be in the lineup, but Mike Schilt was talking pregame, and there was soreness, and it didn't seem like there's anything structural, so they're not getting more tests done or anything. Just want to get the swelling, or not the swelling, the soreness out of Ariz. If he was going to be available tonight, he would have pinch hit. I mean, there were multiple spots. Tyler Wade pinch hit at the end of this game. David Peralta, I know he almost hit a home run, but you probably have Ariz in that spot over David Peralta. Both guys are lefties. So he obviously was not available. The Padres still probably should have won this game, though. So it's disappointing, especially, like I said earlier, when you get that performance from Matt Waldron. There's another thing I wanted to hit on, Morahone and Estrada, that thing. Why go with Morahone in that eighth inning when you're going to bring Estrada in anyway in that eighth inning? I know, the game situation, maybe they wanted Estrada to pitch the ninth as well and part of the eighth. Didn't want to use Suarez if they didn't have to, if it was a tie game and not a save situation. Maybe save him for the last 2 games of this Angels series because he's not going to go 3 days in a row, obviously. But if you're going to go Estrada in the inning at all, I mean, it's easy for me to say it in hindsight, but why not start the inning with Estrada instead of going with Morejon there? Was it matchups? What was that? I'm trying to look here in the 8th. So it was Joe Adell. He's a righty, right? It was Adell and Zach Neto. And Joe Adell is a righty. And Zach Neto is a righty as well. So, I mean, looking back on it, I just question why stick with Morejon in that situation. But maybe that's just me. But yeah, post game reaction. There you go. Padres lose 2-1. Frustrating. Got Adam Mazur making his big league debut tomorrow. So there's that. And hopefully the Padres can give some more offense for him.